Hello, in this video I'm going to discuss these little 3D printed models that I've painted. They are little cute gnomes and the model was designed by Kijai. I've linked to the STL in the description below. I've also linked to my blog where I discuss all of my 3D printed paint jobs, and to another video where I discuss the materials that I use to finish my models and the tools I use as well. Now, this particular print doesn't really want to show up on camera very well. The white keeps bleaching out. But yeah, one thing I want to show you while I've got him kind of in focus is, ta-da! He's a jar. Isn't that cool? Yeah, his hat comes off and you can put little treasures in there. You can print him huge. I shrink everything down, but you can print him large as the designer did to create a cookie jar. It's quite a versatile little model, and this smaller one I have is actually hollow. So that was quite a fast print, and yeah, the smaller one printed completely supportless. I believe this one just needed some supports in the hat, obviously, to create that nice snug fit, but his body printed supportless. So yeah, moving on to the paint job. I've got to get this quite close to the camera. So yes, I primed the model with a uniform color of brushed on acrylic paint. And I let that dry for a day. I obviously did it in 2 pieces because I needed to get right in there. I didn't want it to stick together. So yeah, after that dried for a day, I went in with my colors. I really only blocked in green, brown, and white for the beard. I wanted to do the gnomes very differently to see, well, to give them a different look, obviously, but also to try some new color combinations. I didn't get too adventurous, as you can see, but I did this one mostly with browns. But his beard's quite grey. The white beard was very much a challenge for me. Maybe I'll talk about this guy instead of the green one because you can see him a lot more clearly without the light bleaching out the beard too badly. So yeah, I blocked in the colors. Here it was just like a raw sienna. That's one of my favorite go-to browns. And his hat was just a dark brown. His beard was grey. Obviously the little fleshy bits, the nose and the hands, were flesh coloured. His hands can also be mittens, but I just made them little hands. And he's got little booties on there. And something you can't see very clearly, but you will see in the STL, is that his little onesie actually has a really cool texture put on it. It's kind of a knitted texture, which takes the paint really well. So it makes it really good for painting. So yeah, the next thing I did was I moved on to shadows. Shadows are applied with a wash, and a wash is just watered down acrylic paint. I applied a dark brown to all of his grooves in here, a dark brown between his nose and the hat and his hair and the hat, because I wanted that to be a very distinct shadow area. And for the beard, I just made the greys darker with, I believe it was a black wash, just to get into all these grooves. You can see it's very lumpy and bumpy. I didn't just paint those lines on. They are all bumps that are in the model itself. That's the way it printed. So yeah, after shadows, after that's completely dry, you move on to highlights. I highlighted his pajamas in a lighter shade of the same color. And then once that was dry, I highlighted again on top with copper. So he's kind of got a metallic sheen to him there. I highlighted a bit on the tip of his nose with a bit of white. Actually, it wasn't white, it was a lighter pink, because I wanted to try and get kind of a two-tone color look to his nose. I wasn't terribly successful in that. For the hat, he's just highlighted in copper. So that's just a darker copper look, but it's the same copper, it's just because the underlying color was much darker. And for the beard, it was just a lighter gray highlight, and once that was dry, a white highlight on top of that to really bring out all these bumps. And yeah, that was it for this guy. For this guy, it was much the same. He's got metallic green highlights. His nose has kind of a better two-tone color to it, but it doesn't show up terribly well on the camera. And he's just mostly green. I think I worked some more green into his jammies too. I call them jammies. It's just kind of a little onesie, I guess. You can't really tell, but you can see the texture a bit better on this one. It's a really cool texture, so when you do highlight over that, it really brings it out. So for both of them, when I was finished the highlights, I did go back in with more shadows to really define the areas on the body and under the hat. And that was pretty much it. That's all for the little gnomes. It's a really cool model. A really cool model to paint. Even, you know, to print out and give to kids to paint. Because it's a cool little character. Great for Christmas. Great for any time, really. And that's all for now. Bye.